Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello friends, good morning. Welcome to this NPTEL course on education for sustainable development. Till last session we have already discussed about the education's importance in achieving sustainable development goals. Related to this ESD only, we will be discussing other concepts. So, today we will discuss about how ESD is very relevant for establishing the peace and non-violence, because in the earlier classes we have also already discussed that besides people, planet and prosperity, the framework has also added that peace and partnership. So, today, how relevant it is, how relevant the concept of peace and non-violence is important for achieving the sustainable development goals, and in this learning process, how ESD plays a very important role. So, it is the UNESCO's declaration that the overall goal of ESD, that means prior to 2015, during you can say the 2005 to 14, it was the era of decade of education for sustainable development. That phase was called the DESD. During that stage itself, so UNESCO has said that it's the overall goal of this DESD is to integrate the principal values and the practices of sustainable development in all aspects of education and learning. So, previous to the prior to 2015, that is SDG 17 SDGs UNESCO. So, the era was DESD, that is decade of education for sustainable development. There it was also emphasized that how important it is to integrate the principles, values, practices of sustainable development in all aspects of our education and learning. So, starting from the educational ecosystem, environmental factors to teacher training to curriculum to content. So, these concepts have been have already been highlighted, but now it is we are just reiterating it. It is to, that means to apply it again and again. So, the educational effort will encourage the changes in behavior that will create a more sustainable future in terms of environmental integrity, economic viability and a just society for the present and the future. So, it was already spelled out, it was already emphasized in the previous era of DESD, and UNESCO again re-emphasized it, like how important it is to practice these principles of peace and non-violence in the domain of education, both in teacher training and the curriculum and content, so that it can help us in integrating the three domains, like the environmental domain, economic viability, and to establish a peaceful society, just society for the both for the present and the future. So, this is the declaration already given by UNESCO in 2005 and 14 era of DESD. Looking at the literature, this is the, we found that means this is the like how a holistic framework of the peace education was adopted by the different academic institutions, and researchers they also promoted it and advocated it. So, I am just putting one such example, a holistic framework for the peace education. Here you can see there are 6 petals, petals, and each petal it is advocating some of the values and ethics and the moral principles which are based on the education ESD components, ESD principles, so that we can develop it, we can integrate it in our curriculum and pedagogy. So, these are the 5, you can say these are the principles of peace education which has to be which have to be incorporated in our ESD learning process. So, living with compassion and justice, that is one of the living with compassion and justice, then building the cultural respect, reconciliation and solidarity. That is, we are also saying that for ESD through ESD we have to disseminate the information and generate the awareness about how to be how to be very open minded, how to be intelligent, how to be that means to develop the cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence, to be very responsive to consider the diversities, the cultural diversities, ethnic diversities, and how to irrespective of all these differences and etc., background and etc., how to reconcile and how to establish our solidarity. So that is again that is basic characteristics of you can say global citizenship. So similarly, promoting human rights and responsibility, that we have already discussed, how human rights, gender equality are very important. Then living in harmony with earth, that means we have to take care of our ecosystem, especially with regard to climate change, then pollution, air pollution, then the noise pollution, and the water that means take care of the water life, marine life. Then nurturing the inner peace, both within the, that means intra inner peace, and as well as the inter, that means within the community also there should be intergroup or intergroup peace, intergroup peace, that means dissolving the conflict resolution, negotiation, then better communication, interpersonal communications. So both inner peace, both in case of the individual human being as well as in the society and within the group. So nurturing the inner peace within the society, within the group, as well as within the individual citizen. So disseminating the culture of war, dismantling the culture of war. So that is the dismantling nowadays, cross border terrorism and all kinds of ethnic violence and political violence, all kinds of things are going on. How to dismantle this culture of war, that means aggression, how to remove, how to reduce this kind of aggression and retaliation kind of attitude, negative attitude, pessimistic attitude, being cynic attitude, how to dissolve all these things, because it primarily depends on our interpersonal relationships, social intelligence, etc. So how to develop a kind of culture of peace, prosperity and happiness, and you can say that means harmonious, in the sense that understanding others' perspective, service orientation, and brotherhood, universal brotherhood. So these kind of things, how to remove this kind of war and chaos and conflict and all kinds of aggression, etc., from the society, how to motivate the people, how to motivate our citizens, our public, our community towards the positivity, towards service orientation, towards higher values, towards self actualization, to our higher goals and global citizenship role to achieve for the for our own country as well as for the in the global context. So these are some of the petals, that means these are the basis of pillars of peace education, and how we can incorporate these principles of peace education in ESD framework. So all the educational institutions, they can develop a kind of holistic framework. So it is not just about curriculum, it is not just about content, it is not just about teacher training or administration, but it is the whole overall, the whole institution, that is called the whole institution approach, holistic approach, whole school approach, that is more important. So that all these things will be blended in the practices, blended in the curriculum, blended in the pedagogy everywhere. So that is the whole school holistic framework. So these are the components of the peace education which have to be incorporated in our education system, education practices and teaching learning process. So therefore that is why we are now UNESCO again and again is advocating for the culture of peace and non-violence, how we can build in this kind of culture of peace and non-violence. So since 1945, UNESCO has actually prompted the right to equality to education and the advancement of science and its application to develop the knowledge and capacity of economic social progress. So these are the basis of the peace and sustainable development. Like in India also we have this Mahatma Gandhi MGIEP that we will be discussing later on. MGIEP, that is Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Peace and Youth Development Education, Peace and Education. So similarly, so it primarily emphasizes on how to build up a peaceful society, how to adopt, how to apply, how to develop this kind of peaceful habits, in the sense that all the positive characteristics, like compassion, empathy, compassion, then you can say devotion, justice, being non-judgmental, then enhancing our moral principles, being culture free, that means open minded, culture friendly, being you can say all kinds of, that means open minded and democratic in our approach, then to behave like a global citizen. So, these are already been mentioned in UNESCO, and UNESCO is again and again it is repeating the same thing. Now, similarly, international cooperation is also promoted through programs in the management of transboundary sites such as the World Heritage Sites, biosphere reserves and geoparks, and the transboundary water resources, as well as the water for the peace program, such as the such from the potential conflict of cooperation potential. Like for example, within India also there are the, due to the resources, natural resources like water, or you can say especially water and energy, there are some kind of conflicts, interstate conflicts are also happening. So that means which are transboundary issues. So, how to resolve this kind of thing, like the water can be the water and electricity and energy and other kinds of the natural resources, how it can be mutually used mutually, that means how we can share it, we can use it mutually in a very cooperative manner, in a very compassionate manner we can use this, because it is not limited to, it does not matter that it comes under our state or under our territory, means we have the only right to use it. It is not like that, but how to share and care for others, even sharing the natural resources, even distributing the resources, and even sharing the services also. So, these are the things, that means it requires a kind of attitudinal change. So, attitudinal change, that means attitudinal change, then again that can only bring that behavioral change in our lives. So, how to develop, how to build a culture of peace and non-violence, that is within the state, within the country and across the globe. So, again UNESCO is also leading the United Nations International Year of the Water Cooperation, that is 2013. That is the meeting, that is to promote the deeper cooperation to tackle the rising demand for the water access, allocation and services, etc. As we know, the 70% of the water from the world's global water is from primarily it is salted water, that is ocean water, and hardly 30% we are having this kind of sweet water. So, how to distribute among ourselves, among the countries, etc., that is, and how to share it and how to care, how to, that mean again water detention, water is also reducing. Water reservoir also, it is also reducing, even though we are having the heavy rains, but how to harvest rainwater for storing the, for storage purpose, that is also different technical things. The technology is there to save water, to that means to invest, that means invest the water resources very wisely without wasting it. So, these are the some of the things, strategies we have to adopt in our day to day lifestyle, as well as share and allocate the things and services with other states also, with other regions, other community, other states as well. So, while the opportunities for sustainable development in Africa are growing, so the continent still faces many challenges, including the risk of major instability and conflicts. So, actually all this because Africa has been the backward country, as underdeveloped country since long. So, most of the UNESCO UNESCO guidelines, UNESCO projects, UNESCO things are actually started with have started with African countries only, because they are actually the poorest of the poor. So, it all started. So, now the opportunities are opening off and in Africa, and then they can overcome their that means they are they can reduce many of the challenges especially related to risk and major instability, chaos and conflicts. So, UNESCO advocates for the promotion of culture of peace and non-violence in Africa based on the African shared values. The thing is that all of us across the globe, we are facing one or other challenges, be it pandemic, be it climate change, be it that means overpopulation, be it unemployment, be it poor economy, or downfall of the economic, or all kinds of things, challenges. So, all of us we are experiencing, we are facing. But in spite of that, if you can at least maintain the peace atmosphere, peaceful atmosphere, peaceful culture, so even in the workspace, within the country, so at least we can at least mitigate some of the problems, we can resolve some of the issues, we can think of the solutions. So, think of the solutions which will be sustainable, and we can think of a better plan for a better world. So, that is why you can say peace education, peace and non-violence should be the platform, should be the platform over which we have to develop other plans, action plans. We have to develop we have to think of other strategies and implications, because all our higher strategies, approach, or issues and all the things all the achievements and the aspirations and the goals can be achieved in a conducive environment, with a flexible mindset, with a democratic mindset, but the platform should be peaceful, the platform should be non-violence. So, that is India is the best example of this, because on the platform of this peace and non-violence only we could get the freedom. So, that is it should be the platform on which it should be the sea, water, it should be the planet, can be the earth, the platform too, that means on the base on which we can think of our higher achievements, higher goals and aspirations, etc. So, these are some of the objectives of this peace and non-violence, how to build up, how to strengthen the peace and non-violence through education, that is through advocacy, through media, through ICT, through social networks, etc. So, to strengthen, so that is the strengthening the peace and non-violence in our culture, in our work culture, in our environment, in our education, in our governance, in our administration, in our organizations or industry, everywhere. So, developing the use of the heritage and the contemporary creativity as the tools for building the peace through dialogue again. So, dialogue will be the conveyance, you can say it is a communication tool. Through dialogue only you can resolve our issues. And the UNESCO has also declared across the world, across the globe, so many heritage buildings, heritage monuments, heritage sites, heritage things, that is to preserve our culture, to preserve our history, to preserve our archaeologically excellent things. So, that is the UNESCO heritage sites. That is also one effort for growing for not only protecting, preserving also, but also nurturing our creativity and preserving it for our future generation. Similarly, strengthening the social cohesion, that is the social relationships, so group team building, that group feeling, we feeling, then group dynamics, contributing to the this is the case study given on the African country, based on the African country, but contributing to the African Renaissance, that means through the induction of general history of Africa into the formal and non-formal education. So, the project we started in the Africa. So, how to enhance the awareness of the African people regarding their general history, background, their their old value systems, everything. So, history, you can say ancestry, their all kinds. So, similarly, in general we can also apply this in our context, like we have the long 5,000-year history, having the background of taking background of our civilization, a great civilization. So, UNESCO has also made the effort to preserve these heritage sites, trying to protect the cultural heritage of every country across the globe. Then promoting scientific and the cultural cooperations. At the same time, we have to promote the technological and scientific innovations, and at the same time we have to protect our cultural heritage also. So, that is nowadays also the government is also making effort through Indian knowledge system and other kind digital library and museums, promoting the museums, making and the all the libraries getting connected to digital in the digital platform, and saving the all our old heritage and the knowledge, the traditional knowledge, and our precious scripts and the precious knowledge, literatures, etc., even medicine, Ayurvedic medicine. So, in our knowledge, Indian knowledge system, how it can be, we can preserve it, how we can protect it, and so that not only it will be beneficial for us in the present, but also it will be useful for our future generations. So, they will be apprised of what is the history of India, what is the history of our culture, and how we are protecting it. Similarly, empowering and encouraging. So, now through this, by not only through this cultural heritage protection and preservation. Not only we are protecting it for the future, we are also using it for our living purpose also. So, empowering and engaging youth for youth people, women and men. That means it also gives kind of protecting and preserving the cultural things, our ethnic, some kind of ethnic jobs, ethnic, then agricultural products, Ayurvedic products, medicinal products. So, not only it that means it gives a kind of employment and the job opportunity, and is a kind of living, the means for the living, so day to day living. So, it also gives us a healthy life. It also encourages us to empower. So, these are the these are, you can say, some of the, through these vocation, through these occupations, it can become a economic path of earning, also living, maintaining the living standards. So, empowering and engaging. So, not only that we are engaging the young people, women, men, everywhere in preserving and protecting it and creating the things, but also through this also we are trying to empower the people so that they can earn their livelihood through this. So, these are the strengthening, developing, then promoting and empowering and engaging. These are some of the functions of this peace in education and the non-violence. So, this is also a flagship program that is to promote the culture of peace and non-violence. Is an example, like in primarily the project was there in Africa. So, that is this kind of flagship program. They address the root cause of the conflict in the African countries and strengthen the capacity to prevent and resolve the conflict peacefully, in particular using the African local values and indigenous practices of a culture of peace. Thing is that like for example, every culture, every country, every civilization, they are having their past. In the past, they have having some social values, moral group values, and the cultural values. So, looking at the cultural values and the moral values of the particular society, the community, the people, etc., how we can resolve the conflicts. So, the overall objective is to understand the root cause of the conflict, maybe because of the inequalities, maybe because of lack of distribution of resources, or maybe that insufficiency, or maybe that gap between rich and poor, maybe due to poor governance, maybe due to bad health services, maybe due to lack of educations. So, we have to find out the root cause of all kinds of the conflicts, and we have to find out the solutions for this in a very strategic manner, so that our efforts would be like by reminding them their African values, their local values, their cultural values, their background, etc., how we can establish a culture of peace. So, that is by bringing the positivity in their thought process, by bringing the positivity in their attitude, behavior, and the emotional or in the affective domain. So, the main actions were like so how ESD can help in that establishing that peace and education, peace and non-violence, like the scale of the education for a culture of peace by mainstreaming the peace, human rights, global citizens, education in particular. So, like for example, we can introduce it as a subject to bring it to the mainstream by introducing it as a subject in the school curriculum, in the higher education curriculum, and in mainstreaming the peace and human rights, and practice it and demonstrate it, and organize different kinds of workshops and training programs for the teachers, and develop the teaching learning materials, then the creating that learning environment, then promoting the knowledge and capacity for protecting the sustainably managing the oceans, then the focus on the main hydrological basins, all kinds of, that means how to protect the resources available, the natural resources available, and how to, again, in order to enhance the human resource capacity, how to educate them, how to take care of their health services, how to advocate the justice and legal, how to advocate the justice and justice and law and justice and rules and regulations in the society. So, these kind of things, that means it's a overall, that means overall development of the ecosystem of the states. So, both from the people's perspective, enhancing the human resources, their potentialities, their abilities, their aptitudes, and their mindset, their things, and natural planet, taking care of the planet or the environment or the ecosystem, and ecosystem by reserving the resources, and at the same time how we can engage the citizens in different kinds of economic activities, in the occupational activities, so that they can earn their livelihood, they can earn money, so that the financial growth or the prosperity can also happen. So, and we have to build up all these things at the in the platform of peace, because on the basis, if unless and until we establish a culture of peace, we cannot we can say motivate people, we cannot invest our resources in industries, in the organizations, in the in the financial sector, in the agriculture sector. So, we have to we can mobilize our resources only when we have a peace or we have an environment of a culture of peace and non-violence. So, that is a strengthening the capacities of the member states to design and implement the multi-stakeholder and inclusive public youth policies. Here again comes the governance also. So, how to engage citizens? So, how to engage the citizens, because they are enhance their capacities, their abilities, their skills, their competencies. So, capacity developing that means competency building and developing the capacity of the members by implementing multi-stakeholder and inclusive public youth policies. That means for any activity, they are not, it's not just addressed to one target group, one audience, one client group, but also multi-stakeholder. Even in the industry also, in any organization, even organization, there are a lot of stakeholders, there are a lot of people who are either directly or indirectly related to that business. So, multi-stakeholder responsibility, enhancing the multi-stakeholder responsibility, inclusive in public youth policies. So, it is about the laws, the regulations, rules, regulations, public policies, and engaging more women and men in community building and democratic process. That means, how to engage all the citizens across their gender, across their age group, etc. So, in a framework of multi-stakeholder partnership. So, here multi-stakeholder, that means different stakeholders, maybe the consumer, maybe that producer, maybe the industry people, maybe the administration. So, multi-stakeholder framework, the multi-stakeholder framework, how can we engage them? So, introduce the general history of any country, especially it is a case study of Africa. So, into the curriculum frameworks, either in the formal way and the non-formal education pattern. Promote the elements of intangible heritage for reconciliation, social cohesion and peace. That means, we have to keep on reminding our public, our people, our citizens about the glorious history, about our glorious past, about our glorious heritage and our cultural background, etc. To just to remind, to bring them into a kind of stage of nostalgic, being nostalgic about our past, about our culture, about our country. So, to remind them that how peace is important and what was our past, what is our heritage, and how we were in our old generation, in our ancestral history. So, facilitate the pluralistic media institutions, empower the youth through enhance media and information literacy competency. So, to enhance the media and information literacy through multimodal, in the multimodal way, pluralistic media, like either not that means all besides these basic communication skills like reading, writing, listening, talk and delivering the public speech, public speaking, etc. But by using the multiple medias, using the multiple medias and the platforms, how we can enhance not only the digital literacy, but information literacy. And so, because there is multiple using the multiple channels and the media for information sharing, dissemination and the critical evaluation, etc. Actually, it also stimulates the human cognition, collective consciousness, collective awareness, collective consciousness, collective, you can say conscience, that is to be very caring, to be very careful, to be very that means a kind of broad minded self actualized person. That means, we can think beyond our own interests. So, by using the nowadays is the technology is there, the digital platform is there, digital literacy is there, and this social networking side, how it has enhanced our this consciousness, this empowerment, then our awareness, because instantly with the that means in the digital platform, social network platform, we can have a overview and idea of what is going on all around the world, and who is even the small events, small happenings, some incidences also, it also stimulates our thought process and make us aware. That this kind of awareness, actually its purpose is to make it every citizen feel responsible. Then whatever it is happening in my society, in my immediate community, in my country, I am also equally involved, engaged, and I am also that means responsible for this, because it is not only my human right, also it is also my responsibility to serve my country. So in that way, the conscience, the general conscience, the awareness, the collective consciousness, conscience also is being improved, increased. So people are becoming more and more conscious about what is happening in and around them inside the country, in every state. So they are not just confined to their own community, own state, or own family, but now they are because they are becoming more more conscious about the present, their past, their not about just about their own interest, but also about the country and the country and the continents as well. That means they have developed this kind of consciousness for the globe, being a global citizen. They think that we are all interconnected, and we are being a global citizen. It's our responsibility to take care of the planet, to take care of the society, and to inculcate and to develop the good values, right values, not only for our present youth and present generation, but for our children, for our future generation. So raise the awareness of youth for the peace and the dialogue through the media. So we can have the dialogue in multiple platforms, through media, through TV, through social networking, through Facebook. Now there are so many number of social networking platforms are there. So these are the platforms through which we can engage ourselves, motivate our youth to have a dialogue, to resolve any kind of conflict, any kind of issues, any kind of challenges, and move ahead, go ahead collaboratively, cooperatively. So they have to develop a culture of collaboration, culture of trust, culture of peace, culture of cooperation, and culture of sharing and caring. It's not just about our country, we and my family, but it is about the total planet. So raise the awareness of and youth are the manpower, and India is it has the dividend of the youth population. So how to raise the awareness of this youth towards the peace and having the dialogue, and through the dialogue and a democratic approach, how we can resolve all kinds of the social issues, be it a farmers agriculture farmers issues, be it a legal issue, be it an economic issue, be it a issue of climate change, or be a issue of the unemployment, all kinds of any kind of issue can be resolved through dialogue, conversation, discussion, and idea sharing. So that would be our prior thing. So now at this moment we are stopping here. I close this, and next class we will start the other things. Thank you.